All right, we are live for a Thursday edition of the morning check-in, and as always, excited to connect, man. Looking forward to finding out what's on your radar. And today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I usually cover everything from Wall Street to Main Street, but today I want to really spend some time focusing on Main Street because Main Street is what keeps I guess the economy really turning because that's the labor market. That's where a majority of the activity takes place that keeps this system in place, good and bad. And so a lot of interesting articles recently came out just basically highlighting and showing more of what I consider the truth as to what's really happening in reference to the job market, as well as overall health and conditions of a lot of these companies that employ the working class. And right now, just based upon the numbers and the figures, it's not not going too well. But then again, the Main Street it's a clear distinction between Main Street and Wall Street. Wall Street right now, looking at the stocks, looking at the markets in general, they will have you believe that everything is hunky dory and that there is no recession. But how is it the rest of the world, for the most part, is experiencing a recession? The governments have admitted that they're in a recession, and the U.S. happens to be just cruising along, with no similarities whatsoever in our economies. But that's because the numbers are fake. And what's really happening in Main Street definitely is a good indication to the truth. But we're going to touch on that and a couple other stories. But as always, want to make sure I welcome everybody into the chat. Let me know if everything is flowing smoothly. Want to make sure that this is worth your time and that we can leave here better than we came in. And so, as always, going to start off with some good news, which is the most important news, and it comes from the good Bible. And so we'll dive into some headlines, look at some of the market activity. And then I want to share with you some developments in Main Street to let you know that, if you are still employed and in a good position financially, then you are a part of what it will become, the slim few of people who are able to continue to move forward while market conditions around them fluctuate. And so looking forward to having a good stream, man. As always, let me welcome everybody in here. If you have not, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. And if you don't mind, hit the share button and bring in more people so they can get an alternative twist to what's really going on here beyond the mainstream lies of giving you all these numbers that sound all good. But at the end of the day, we know that everything is not okay. So, and also, if you have not, make sure you guys connect with RTD on all the socials. Link is in the description. And the most important one is Telegram, where I share articles throughout the day on a variety of subject matters. Even the community on Telegram is very active, sharing things from the health situation to geopolitical events, you name it. So I encourage you guys to join that if you like. Link is in the description. All right. Let's get into it this morning, man. Let me acknowledge a couple of people for blessing me with your presence. Niels is checking in with us. We have B-Rad. We have Ed checking in. LBP in the building. We got Kurt T from Tucson. Appreciate you, man. What else we got here? The dad, Dan, checking in as well. Fair amount of people, man. Appreciate you as always. Let's get into it, man. As always, as I mentioned, I want to start off with that good word to deposit a little bit of spiritual juice into your spiritual bank account, get you guys fired up this morning and get you started on your way in a good note. And so today it's called Unshakable Trust. So despite what's going on, maintaining strong in your faith is going to be paramount. It says, I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, and him I will trust. That's from Psalms 91, verse 2, the New King James Version. And then it goes on to say, in the landscape of life, with its peaks and valleys, its storms and calm, one truth stands as our unyielding sanctuary. The Lord is our refuge and fortress. Declaring this, we speak not just of belief, but of a profound trust that alters the fabric of our reality. Think about that. We speak not of belief, of just belief, but of a profound trust that alters the fabric of our reality. To call God our refuge is to acknowledge a place of safety amid the trials that besiege us. A fortress represents strength and protection, a bulwark against the encroaching fears. This is the nature of our God, a steadfast protector in whom we can place our unfaltering trust. Today, let us hold fast to this declaration. As we navigate uncertainties and face challenges, let us remember our shelter is not found in the transient, but in the eternal. He is the constant in our ever-changing world and sure foundation when all else shifts, when all around us shifts. May we walk in the assurance that no matter what we encounter, we are secure within the fortress of his love and care. In every moment, with every breath, let us trust in him. And the prayerful reflection is, Lord, you are my refuge and my strength and ever-present help in time of needs. Today, I choose to trust you wholly, finding peace in your protection and comfort in your care. May my heart remain steadfast, knowing you are the solid ground beneath my feet. Amen. The solid ground beneath my feet. All right. Unshakable trust. And definitely that is one thing we need, regardless of your circumstances, whether good or on shaky ground. Having trust will be extremely important moving forward. All right. That's the good news for this morning. Hope you were blessed by that. Hopefully it charged you up spiritually. That's what it's meant to do. All right. Before I move forward, as always, let's get into some of the opportunities available to the channel. I want to make sure I always big up my people over at 4 Patriots for blessing the channel and giving you guys an opportunity to get your calorie game up. So if you are interested, as always, want to make sure you're aware. Links in the description, 4patriots.com/RTD. That's a deals page where you guys can go and grab any item that allows you to prepare for whatever may lie ahead. It's always good to have something just in case. You never know when stuff might hit the fan. And one of the specialties that they offer is their 1 year food package, which is a great way to just diversify yourself, make sure you got your calorie game up. And then also they have the opportunity for you guys to get your solar bank on. So you'll always be able to have something in case the lights go out to back yourself up. And so just something worth checking out if you guys are interested. 4patriots.com/RTD. Link is in the description. And also want to make sure you guys understand the importance of diversifying out of this legacy financial system as they continue to lie to us at one point, where in reality, Main Street is not doing too well. All-time high in credit cards, all-time debt loads in all capacities. And so taking some of your disposable cash, redeeming those notes, and getting to something tangible and physical is crucial. So Rethinking the Dollar /GSM is the deals page here where you can go grab some silver or copper, depending on what floats your boat the most. Premiums are small and therefore allows you to get more bang for your buck. So if you're interested, feel free to click the link in the description and go grab yourself a little bit of weight to hold yourself down as the storm picks up. And then lastly, want to make sure you guys are aware of the RTD Crisis Report page. If you scroll down to the bottom of this video here, you'll see the link. And this just basically gives you an alternative way of looking at some things and getting some short, precise, analytical, detailed reports on subject matter that should be important to you because it covers a variety of subjects from real estate to retirement to the mining space, you name it. And so if you sign up, just a free download, as many as you want, and then you'll be on my email list and we'll stay in contact as well. So more information in the description if you guys are interested. All right. So where do we go from here, people? Where do we go from here? Let's take a quick glance at the market activity just to see what the numbers are, if they really matter these days. And then we'll also get into some of the primary subject I want to touch on when it comes to Main Street and overall just sentiment, man, is very negative, unfortunately. And so want to make sure you guys are plugged into what reality is rather than what we're being told from mainstream lies. And so let me get my pages set it up here so we can make sure this flows smoothly. All righty. Let me go here. Okay, let me refresh my page here so it'll be good to go. And so let's get into it. As of right now, let me make sure I move my page over a little bit here. There we go, so you can see it. As of right now, let me get rid of this stuff here. What is all this? Let me get rid of this. What is going on here? Give me a second, people. As always, there's some type of glitch or malfunction. All right, so here we go. As of right now, we got gold 21.59 down $13. No doubt there was a market. As soon as the market opened, it had a little bit of a drawdown. Let me just check this out real quick. Yeah, so start off, tried to pop at 842. It tried to pop, but they slammed it down. To be expected. What else we got? Silver. Silver is getting a little bit more attention these days, approaching that $25 mark. And clearly yesterday at about, let me see, looks like last night, let me see, about 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, so basically when the Asian markets opened somewhat, it got up to $25.14. And as always, as the markets open towards the west, it slammed down. And then today it opened up at $25. And guess what? They got slammed down a couple cents. So silver obviously is going to be a key player because it is the people's money. And so once silver price breaks out, the monetary system is done. The monetary system will be officially done. Ain't no hiding that. Platinum is 925. Palladium is 1061. All right. Let's take a quick glance at the crypto space as of right now. It looks like a lot of green activity over the last 15 minutes. And did anybody check out how Elon Musk, I think yesterday during one of his presentations at, somewhere mentioned that he's going to allow Dogecoin to be acceptable for Tesla vehicles. And of course, you look at the Doge price immediately. Immediately when he said that, this was last night. Let me see. No, this was, let me see. Go for that. So literally, I saw it last night in the evening. Price was 16 cents. By the time it hit mainstream media, it already shot up to 18.7 cents. So literally 2 cents off a video that surfaced about Elon Musk saying that Dogecoin was a coin that's for the people. So yeah, when a billionaire gets behind it, the media will drive it up, and therefore it's going to pop eventually. So just a little something out there for my people who speculate. All right, let's get into some other activity here. Bitcoin is still doing its thug thizzle, still reaching all-time highs. I did a little video, a little excerpt yesterday in reference to just the price of things valued in Bitcoin has went down substantially over the last decade, where things in the fiat realm can only go up. So just something worthwhile. And I actually had some back and forth with somebody in the Telegram community, basically just highlighting how if you were fortunate enough to have gotten into Bitcoin as a speculative investment, depending on what you look at it, a couple years ago, you're definitely well into profit range, and it makes it easier to exit out and to buy real world things if you wanted to, or if you just hold on to it, because the way Michael Saylor and all the other maximalists are acting right now, they're trying to drive it to $1 million a coin. And could you imagine literally selling half of a Bitcoin to purchase a median-sized home? That would be the gamble or speculation of a lifetime. So, but that's where they're trying to make this thing go, and it probably will. So $73,000 for a piece of a ledger, ones and zeros on a screen. It's crazy, man. Ethereum, 4,000. And literally, if you look at the last month, or let's actually go out, or we probably won't be able to, but if I go through the last week. Okay, so the speculation that I've noticed for those who are interested in crypto is that literally there's been a massive amount of Ethereum being dumped onto the market to keep Ethereum. So we got a drawdown here, 3,700, another drawdown here at 3,800. And both of these dips here, there were millions of Ethereum dumped onto the market by some suspicious holder that literally keeps it below 4,000. And so the saying is they don't want Ethereum to pop, because if it pops, it'll distract from the Bitcoin mania. And because Ethereum has different properties, being a proof of stake, which means you can earn yield off staking it, and it's deflationary because of the tweaking of the code, it could far outpace Bitcoin as far as the amount of capital that flows into the ETF when it's announced. So there's a lot of speculation of people trying to get ahead of the Ethereum game. So just something out there for people who pay attention to the markets, because it ain't going nowhere. So you can play that game if you want. All right. And of course, lastly, let me refresh my page here. A quick look at the legacy system, the stonk market. And I saw an interesting tweet. Let me see if I can find it real quick. That kind of highlight. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe I won't be able to find it. Here's an interesting tweet here from Zero Hedge. It came out this morning. It says, bad news is good news for stonks. Good news is good news for stonks. Any news is good news for stonks, and especially when they're trying to avoid the recession narrative. So real quick here, Microsoft is getting a nice little bid. The technology sector is doing pretty well. Consumer electronics, Apple is doing well. Google and Meta's doing quite well. And unfortunately, semiconductors is not doing that well for starters, but then again, it's still early. And the financial sector, Visa, MasterCard, American Express is doing pretty well. People are swiping away, which is a reason why The PPI figures is a little bit up, and as well as consumer confidence is still up because people are swiping. They're not really using their savings, which have already been depleted somewhat. And of course, the banking sector is under a lot of stress. So not surprising one bit there. All right, let's get into it, man. So here's an interesting article here talking about the recession. It seems like the mainstream media, of course, which is in bed with the the orchestrators of this entire experience we're having, they will never willingly talk about a recession, because talking about recession shows weakness in the economy and it will drive more fear. Therefore, the so-called stonk rally that we're experiencing, S&P at continuous highs throughout the last several weeks, months perhaps, wouldn't be there. And consumer confidence will be shattered. Businesses, which are already closing, would be more pressed to lay off, which they're already doing. And the narrative of a soft landing would completely fade away. We are already in a recession. How is it that we can't, the rest of the world can't avoid a recession, but the U.S. can? That's how we know they're lying to us, especially with all these fake stacks. But here's an interesting headline out of the Trading Review, which was from JP Morgan. Says JP Morgan predicts a 65% chance for a potential global recession. It says the U.S. Federal Reserve has decided to cut interest rates in June as a majority of economists advocated for it. That's not baked into the cake. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon urges the Fed to wait past June to provide more time for the central bank. Says Dimon predicted a 65% chance for global recession. We're already in a global recession. And that's how you know that with sheer words and headlines, they can get people to believe a fake narrative based upon the fact that everything is still operating smoothly unless it's happening to you. And what I mean, Mainstreet is already in a recession. And then when you get stories like this, Dollar Tree misses holiday quarter estimates to shut nearly 1,000 stores. If people who are already tapped aren't utilizing the ability to go to a Dollar Tree to buy cheap items, and Dollar Tree is coming up short, that lets me know that there's a major disconnect between the retail investor when it comes to the higher chain and the lower chain stores. Because now not only does this say a lot as far as Dollar Tree not meeting their expectations on dollar items, but they're also closing 1,000 stores within the next several months. And that's Dollar Tree as well as the Family Dollar that will be closing. And that's a couple hundred jobs at least. And so here it says, firm to close 600 Family Dollar stores in the first half. Forecast 2024 sales and profit below estimates. Like when you're missing out on dollar items, that's a problem. So this is another indication that Mainstreet ain't doing too well. And then here's another one. Tech layoffs. 89% of IT professionals in the U.S. worried about job loss in 2024 find study. And so it says as many as 72.4% of workers surveyed admitted that they are feeling uneasy. They're feeling uneasy about the impact of AI on their jobs over the next 5 years. And so it says in the first 2 months of 2024, we have seen 193 companies laying off nearly 50,000 of their staff just within the first 2 months. And we're not even into the year yet. And so this is an indication of what's really happening in Mainstreet. Here's another one. Layoffs rise to the highest for any February since 2009, Challenger says. Anytime. It says with a series of high profile layoff waves, tech leads the way this year in cuts with 28,218 within 2 months. Though the number has fallen 55% from the same period a year ago. So if you look out over the longer period of things, there's been an upward trend of layoffs. But then again, the figures that come from the Bureau label statistics always happen to be peachy and fuzzy and all rosy. And most of those metrics that they use don't count people who have second, third jobs or side hustles or gig workers. They're just focusing primarily on the on-farm payrolls and the corporate sector. But it says that the total of 84,000 planned cuts shows an increase of 3% from January and 9% from the same month a year ago. It says for the year, companies have listed 166,000 cuts, a decrease from a year ago. Okay. So that's what's happening in Main Street. And then here's a visual aid map that I saw that's from January. And I'll zoom in here. And so it says unemployment rate by state, seasonally adjusted January 2024. And so the red states or the darker ones are 4% or higher unemployment rate. And then in the green section here is the lowest. And then we have the yellow states that are creeping up. That near around looks like, 3.5, 3 to 3.5, 3.9% unemployment rate. And this is just the map from January. And it's good to say these same states here, all these dark areas, for the most part, are service sector jobs, IT, and those type of jobs where, AI as well as other issues will be the reason why there's massive layoffs. But more importantly, for corporate profits to make sure that the stock market continues to drive up. So the stocks will be very favorable moving forward, even though majority of people aren't really invested in it entirely. While on Main Street, jobs and job security and confidence is trending downward. So just a little something. And then here's another one here. This is the tech layoff tracker, where they track actual layoffs. And so as we can see here, all the companies over the last several months and the numbers that they've laid off, these are all the Silicon Valley type places and their layoffs. And so here's, as of March, let me refresh this. As of March 12th, we got Pecan AI lays off 30 people. Phantom Auto lays off 100% of the company, which are 100 people. We got Sim laid off 100% of the company. Deadspin lays off 100% of the company. So these are small tech companies that are literally just closing their doors. Perch lays off 94. Inscribe 40% of company. Niche 22 people, and on down the lights. And so there's just the bigger the company, the bigger the numbers. And so these are all companies that you won't hear about on mainstream media, just because, once again, these are small entrepreneurial ventures that employ the bulk of the working force in total, and they're out of business, going out of business, closing doors. But then again, we're not in a recession. Okay, sure. All right, keep it moving. What else we got here? The VA plans to trim 10,000 jobs this year. Mostly from medical sites. So, yeah, what recession? No, in America, we're not in a recession. No, are you sure we're not? Or is it because they moved the goalposts? So I literally, I think, it's possible. I'm just everywhere right now, but just share my thoughts. If the federal government and the BLS and the White House can change definitions from 2 consecutive contracting quarters of GDP growth constitutes a recession. That happened in 2021, 2022, I think. But then again, when they changed that, that's no longer applies in a monetary reset. So there's a distinction between Wall Street and Main Street narratives. And so Wall Street is doing fine. Main Street is not doing fine based upon all the things I showed. So I can literally create my own definition. A Main Street recession can literally consist of 2 or more quarters or years of lack of consumer or employee confidence and the increase of business closures and job layoffs. So that will be my Main Street recession definition, which, if that rings true, which to me, based upon everything I've showed, it clearly does, then we're beyond the point of recession. And so what it clearly tells me is the goal for them meaning people in DC, especially headed to this presidential year, and the financial regulators, oversight committee, monetary authorities that be, they don't want the word recession to pop up as a mainstream narrative, because it hinders their objective of having a smooth flowing economy all the way through the presidential election. But once we get through the presidential chaos that's coming, they're gonna let the wheels fall off the bus, as I mentioned, because there's no reason to really keep the lie going, because it doesn't matter at that point. Whoever's supposed to be in the White House will be there, whether left or right wing, don't matter, because the only thing they can do is print more currency to prop things up, or stop printing altogether and let it pop, let the bubble burst, and then we deal with the consequences that come with that. At the same time, the country's been flooded with strangers who don't give a damn about our way of life and will do anything it takes to, I guess, have their needs met, which our government is unfortunately doing. So Just a little bit of a side note rant there. Okay. And as a result of consumer confidence, employee confidence trending down, more people are feeling the pressure of layoffs and stress and the pinch financially. Not everybody, but it's enough that has caused this Mainstreet Recession. It leads to articles like this. It says here, let me zoom up. I'm sorry. Let me get rid of this. It says more people tapping retirement plans for emergency expenses. More people tapping retirement plans for emergency expenses. And then it goes on to explain why, the averages, things like that. It says most could not meet their $1,000 emergency. The need is acute. Fewer than half of U.S. adults, 44%, say they could not. Said they could cover an unexpected $1,000 expense from their regular savings. And so that means the other half of that, 44%, can't. But taking money out of the 401k plan or individual retirement to tide you over comes at a cost. If you haven't reached age 59 and a half, the IRS will likely assess a 10% penalty on the amount you withdraw. And that's on top of the federal and state taxes you have to pay. So the fact that people are tapping into their retirement for emergency expenses lets us know that discretionary cash and savings is already not there, and that's a problem. It says here, just more visual aids here. It says a record number of Americans are taking hardship withdrawals from their 401k. The figure has nearly doubled over the last 4 years. 40% of these hardship withdrawals are to avoid foreclosure. 40% to avoid foreclosure. This came from a Wall Street Journal graph here where you can see it trending upward increasingly. And in 2020 happened to be the lowest because that was the stimmy check time, in my opinion. And then just more insights here. It says what's crazy about this is that most hardship withdrawals were $5,000 or less, meaning that homeowners don't have enough money to pay basic expenses and bills and are willing to take penalties and pay taxes on their 401k for early withdrawal to cover expenses. So it goes on to just show how more pain is here by charts. You got delinquencies, we got foreclosures, we got personal savings rate right here just approaching an all-time low. So yeah, the stats, the graphs don't lie, telling them what the real state of the Main Street economy is. And based upon all these graphs and figures, yeah, it's a problem. Okay, but you're aware of that. And here's a kicker. Out of all this, inflation or the CPI figure is trending upward. And so here is a good visual aid that lets me know that as much as economists are baking in the cake that there'll be a rate cut, to be truthful, because there's not enough pain really, I wouldn't be surprised if they pause continuously and eventually hike another quarter, just because inflation is creeping back up according to their own metrics. So if we know the figures are already fake, meaning that they're lowballing the numbers for their own protection, and if they're having a hard time even covering up those numbers with the slow trend upward of the inflation figures, then it's most likely that they'll probably hike again because there's not enough pain in relation to what they would like to see. So here's a visual aid here. It says the Atlanta Fed's gauge of sticky inflation has risen to 5% on a 3-month annualized basis. It says inflation is moving in the wrong direction for the Fed. So it's interesting that the market's base case is still that the Fed is going to cut rates by 100 basis points by January. So yeah, even their models aren't working out the way that they thought they would because it's hard to cover up the lie still. And then here we got producer prices in the United States jumped higher than expected in February, adding to signs of persisting inflation. PPI is rising. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hide that. And then it says here, this is from William Middlecop. It says, it's official, the ECB rate cuts coming soon. Bloomberg, ECB's Stornaris have to cut rates twice before the summer break, according to one of their ECB, board members. So Fed might be going opposite direction. All right, so that's all I had for just some stories for today. We have time to do a little bit of Q&A or whatever else is out there in the market scene these days. So feel free to throw out some ideas, some thoughts, some suggestions on anything you guys might want to touch on real quick, and we'll try to cover it. I see some talk on crypto. I bought early, so I see people talking about some crypto space. What we got here says, so let me see here. Rita JMC says, we are already in a recession. We've been in one for at least a year, almost similar to 2008 financial meltdown. However, I feel like it's worse. Great point. And as I try to distinguish between Wall Street narrative and the Main Street narrative, according to Main Street, where it matters most, we've been in recession for quite some time now, hands down. But then again, that's irrelevant when you still have the equities market, which is being used as the price gauge and price mechanism for the health of the economy, telling the opposite story. As long as we're in the green, they can get away with the lie of soft landing and all that other crap. But your average mom and Jane is concerned about their financial situation and their future employment, lets us know a different story. And especially with all these layoffs, business closures, you name it, that's been happening for well over 2 years now. So once the stimulus stuff ran out, that's when things started to go downhill. That's a result of QT, which is what they want to do. This is all intentional. Everything is intentional. Nothing's by accident. Let me see. I'm going to try to make it what you're doing. It was illegal. What we got here? Let me see. Pray for brother Mario. Jimmy Hat. What we got going on? You talking about Manico? What's going on with Jimmy Hat? Give me a quick rundown. What's going on? What else we got here? Sin as long as you make money. Sound advice. Low blood pressure said I went all in on 78 bit scam. Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I really enjoy following the crypto space because it has been a great speculative investment opportunity, because we're past the point of sound investing. We're in the world of pure speculation, which is gambling. Nothing in this world has true price discovery because of the monetary manipulation by ZERP for 10 years plus. And now as we're in the positive range with QT, we're really finding out where capital is best suited to flow for safety. And of course, gold is showing globally where it's the best place to be because it's real tangible and everything else. But if you're going to take a long shot gamble, Bitcoin is the best option for that because that's where the mainstream media wants everyone to flow into. So, getting in early has done you wonders. Getting in right now could scare the heck out of you because, we're not even in a crypto rally right now. We're just in a Bitcoin. Bitcoin is having its moment because of it becoming a financial asset with the ETFs. And so once there is a pivot and there is a reinflating of the bubble, cryptos are going to shoot through the roof. And Bitcoin is already going to be up there. So there's still a lot of opportunity out there, And I have a whole strategy on how I'm trying to play things. And, because I, have been involved for so long and have learned this sector quite well, I'm very confident in my strategy. And so it's going to be interesting, man. But once again, we ain't seen nothing yet because there's an unlimited amount of fiat currency that will be created. And it's all going to flow into places that have some similarities of scarcity. And it's a few out there beyond Bitcoin that constitute as scarce assets that can be utilized. And out of sheer gambling, people are going to go there. So funds will find their way to assets faster than others. But then again, priced in USD, everything going to go up, good and bad. War drums. AS says war drums are getting louder. Adjust and be ready. Yeah, war drums, and especially, with NATO moving closer to the Russian border. Putin already said he's ready to, basically activate the nuclear things. Yeah, we know where the things are heading. Anything is possible, man. And that's what makes everything so exciting because we don't know what comes next. And that's where, as I started this thing off, let me go back for those who may not have been here. When I started this thing off, what it boils down to is your trust, your faith, literally, because we can't control anything beyond our thoughts and our reaction to events around us. And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming this spring and summer. And literally keeping your anchor grounded in the word and your faith in God would allow you to be able to weather some things better than you could if you were on your own winging it. If you ain't got an anchor to hold you down, you're going to get blown away quickly because it's about to get crazy. And because I try to make sure I keep my mind centered on truth, which is the word, and knowing that all this is temporary and literally at any moment, my next breath could be my last, then I'm into eternity. And making sure I solidify my eternity in Christ is the most important thing. And I feel confident that I'm anchored and grounded in Christ. And, whether I'm here tomorrow or not, everything's going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? And that is a very exciting, man, it just, gets me excited. Jimmy Hatt says that elites are all working together. We're expendable and they don't need us anymore is what scares me. Which could be the case. The enemy has a plan, man, steal, kill, and destroy. So think about anything we face in this realm because it's under the influence of, the enemy of humanity. Everybody's expendable. But then again, your soul, literally, which lives forever. Like, your body is literally fading away day by day, but your soul is the most important commodity to God and the enemy. And the enemy's job is to separate you from your creator so that you can spend eternity with him. But then again, your God himself came to basically open the doorway so we can spend eternity with him in the kingdom, which is going to be on this same plane. And then we enter into the new heaven, new earth for eternity's sake. So, I try to keep all that at the forefront, which allows me to see through all the noise and everything else. So everything to me boils down to spiritual life, your spiritual life, literally. Like, expect craziness in this life because that's where things have to go. Carlos, it says here, RTD, hidden inflation is here if you live in New Jersey, New York. It says metro area people in full pain reason they create crypto not to collapse. It's it's fake economy trucker making more than pay PhD. LOL. I've come to the conclusion a long time ago, Bitcoin being the first and the cryptos being spinoffs of that. It was presented initially as a disruption, but now it's literally a distraction. And it's designed to keep people's attention off of the true state of the economy and to never have you ever go back to gold or silver, because that is power, purchasing power, preservation in your hand that is outside of their outright control, apart from the manipulation with the futures price and all stuff like that we talk about. So, yeah, man. It says, what we got here? Truth seeking says we all walk in our body straight to the grave. Some are sprinting. Oh, 100%. Yeah, and that's one guarantee: taxes and death. What comes after that is based upon your faith. Not everything takes you in the same direction. There's only one: the truth, the way, and the life. Yeah, man. Get myself fired up. Jimmy Hatt, thanks for the positive word. My pleasure, man. That's what this is all about. The morning check-in is about giving you good news so that you can stay on top of your spiritual aspects while seeing all the distractions and noise out here that the mainstream media will have us focus on. But all right, man. That is all she wrote, good people. As always, I appreciate you for hanging out with me this morning. If you found any value here, seeing the clear distinction between Wall Street and Main Street and the true state of the Mainstreet Recession, take this share so more people can find out what's really going on, so they won't be caught by surprise or caught off guard because they were already told ahead of time as to what's really happening and where we're at. And the best way, of course, get your spiritual house in order first. Second, do everything you can to prepare yourself in the natural, but more importantly, continue to love on everybody around you, man, and enjoy the time you have, because life is a gift regardless of the circumstances around you. So be blessed, be safe. Back at it tomorrow.